seated. Wow. I can sense the pride in this room and the joy. It is so great to be here. I'm Andrew Aline, and I'm the Dean of the College of Science and Engineering, and I have to say, this is very impressive. I speak for all the CSC faculty and staff to let you know that it's such a great feeling to be here together with you in our Gopher community. It is completely true that this is my favorite event of the year. So, to all the family members out there, thank you for supporting your students' interest in STEM. Without your love and support, these students would not be crossing the stage today. Additional thanks to the crew that works diligently behind the scenes to put on an event like this. There's about 40 people that are running around and have been for the last 6 months, trying to make this an outstanding day for all of us. Can we get them a quick round of applause? So, graduates, this is the time for your parents, your family members, your friends, to share in the pride and joy of your graduation. For many of you graduating today, unfortunately, your high school graduation was canceled due to the pandemic, and your first year of university education was remote. But despite all these obstacles, you did it, and we are so happy that you are here today. And I would be remiss if I didn't welcome all of those watching live online, as we have students here today that are graduating from more than 50 countries on 6 different continents. I don't think we have Antarctica. Now, we are so happy to provide you all with the graduation experience that you deserve. Today, we're honoring more than 1,600 graduating students who have completed the requirements for their bachelor's degree in engineering, physical and computational sciences, and mathematics. And more than 1,100 of these students are in the audience today to celebrate their graduation. And I have to say, we are proud of each and every one of you. I would also like to give a special welcome to the members of the class of 1974, who are participating in the commencement ceremony today as part of their 50th class reunion. They and their guests are seated in the first few rows of Section 5 of the arena, and I'd like to ask them to stand as they are able while we welcome them back to campus on this joyous event. I'm looking forward to seeing many of you here 50 years hence. I plan to be here. I'm going to take good care of myself. So this is the college's happiest and most important occasion of the year. It's a symbol of accomplishment for graduates and a milestone as you move on to the world beyond this university. You will soon become a part of alumni who have made a tremendous impact on the world through their leadership and innovation. Graduates of this college have gone on to invent the first implantable pacemaker, which you'll hear more about in just a second, but also the Post-it note, supercomputers, Cheerios, the modern disk drive, and many other innovations. Other alumni have served in leadership roles at Medtronic, 3M, Cargill, Land O'Lakes, Epic, and ExxonMobil, and have founded companies of all sizes here in the state, across the country, and indeed across the entire world. Some have gone on to become astronauts, small business owners, professors, deans, and presidents of universities. And we are confident that many of you out there will someday make similar contributions in industry, government, or academia. Graduates, we know the dedication, self-discipline, and hard work required to earn your degree, especially during the last few years. And with your graduation, You're closing one chapter of your life. But this is just the beginning of the next chapter. What you've mastered in your studies has prepared you well for this next step. But I have to say, the world is changing fast. Think about it. When you started college, there was no ChatGPT. All right? And few people knew what a large language model is, and yet here we are today. The pace of innovation will keep coming at you. But you should know that better than any previous graduates, you have the ability to be a lifelong learner based on what you have learned over the last several years. You're leaving the university with an excellent set of skills and a deep set of knowledge. Use what you have learned wisely and share your gifts generously. And please do stay in touch with us in the future and share with us the news of your career. We wish you tremendous success as you continue on life's journey. And now I would like to introduce University of Minnesota Provost and Vice Provost, and Dean of Undergraduate Education, Robert McMaster, who would like to give you all a few brief comments.
It's an honor and a great privilege to welcome students, partners, parents, family, friends, faculty, and distinguished alumni on behalf of this great University of Minnesota. This is a day to celebrate extraordinary accomplishments and contributions in learning, teaching, research, leadership, career development, and service. But it is especially a day to celebrate the achievements of the College of Science and Engineering graduates who are gathered here today. One of my jobs here at the University of Minnesota is to oversee the Office of Admissions. So I get to see the quality of our exceptional students as they come in, which has been increasing every single year. The CSE undergraduate students are among the very best at this institution. You are students who could have enrolled at other excellent universities, but you wisely chose the University of Minnesota for your studies. Congratulations to all of you. Over the past century and a half, the university has made a tremendous impact on its 600,000 graduates and the citizens of Minnesota. The diplomas and awards that we celebrate today enrich us all together and bind each of you to this great institution. So as you leave the University of Minnesota to begin the next stage of your lives and careers, I hope you'll remember the pride, the intense pride that the university has in your remarkable achievements here. Best of luck, and again, congratulations.
So, Matt? Oh, sorry, there you are. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Matt Anderson, and I'm a faculty member in the Mechanical Engineering Department and the Director of Undergraduate Studies. For the past few years, I've had the honor of teaching and leading a CSE global seminar course called Design for Life, Water in Tanzania, where I travel with an outstanding group of CSE students each January to rural Tanzania. In this course, we work with local villages that currently do not have access to clean, reliable drinking water. The CSE students are then tasked with immersing themselves in learning about the village such that they can design a sustainable and safe water distribution system that meets the current needs and future needs of these communities. And it is through this course that I have been able to really get to know so many students across the various CSE majors, including your 2024 commencement speaker, Josh Eichen. It was my experience with Josh and the 13 other CSE students this past winter that brings me up here today, and I am absolutely honored to introduce him to you all today. Josh hails from a small town in southern Wisconsin, Pleasant Prairie. He's graduating today with a Bachelor of Industrial and Systems Engineering degree. During his time at the University of Minnesota, Josh has enriched his collegiate experience in so many ways, serving on the Student Senate, being an active member of Greek life, and was selected to represent the University Homecoming Royalty Court. And since I've heard he's a pretty good tennis player as well, it doesn't surprise me that he's also active in the club tennis here at the university. He has had the honor of earning the Dr. Alan L. Eliason Undergraduate Achievement Award in ISYE, and because of an internship after his sophomore year, he found a passion for the impact of medical device manufacturing has on the world. And as such, he's landed a full-time position at Boston Scientific as an industrial engineer after graduation. Leading this past year's Design for Life class was an absolute privilege, and I'm so excited to introduce you all to Josh, one of our many amazing and talented CSE students. He'll share a bit about his experience in Tanzania, including the 16-hour plane ride home, where he unfortunately had to deal with a pretty intense stomach bug, but really the impact that it had on him for the rest of his life. And so, without further ado, will you all help me in welcoming our CSE 2024 student speaker and an all-around wonderful human being, Mr. Josh Eichen.
If you think 16 hours on a plane ride is uncomfortable, imagine spending most of those sick on the bathroom floor. Regardless, thank you to Matt for the introduction. What an honor it is to stand up here now. Also, thank you to Dean Aline, Associate Dean Blank, and Assistant Dean Shervam for this remarkable opportunity to share my learnings. Wow, does time fly. It was just 4 years ago that I attempted to cook my first meal in college, using chicken straight from the freezer and confused when it was still raw after I cooked it. It was just 4 years ago that my high school and a lot of ours around the nation canceled graduation due to the pandemic. And it was just 4 years ago that we all selected the University of Minnesota for various reasons, a decision for me that has turned into one of the greatest of my life. In just 4 years, think of how far we've all come. Congratulations to all of you for your hard work. But before you can come up here and grab your desired diploma from Dean Aline, before we can throw our caps high into the sky in unison, before we can return home today and metaphorically flip the last page in a whirlwind of a chapter we call college, I have one final question. And it is this: when we can no longer rely on rubrics or grades as a proper metric of how we are doing, what does it mean to be a successful scientist or engineer? Although arguably one of the most fundamental questions for us as we are College of Science and Engineering students, this is something I feel like I wouldn't have been able to answer proudly until recently. And I hope that we can all rediscover that answer together. For background, beyond the cooking mishaps, there are many moments in my academic career when I felt truly confused. I would wonder why it was me who was fortunate enough to be graduating today in Industrial and Systems Engineering. And I'm fortunate enough to be born into this life where I'm not only allowed but encouraged to become educated and pursue my countless passions. What separates me from the millions of other kids across the globe that have comparable drive or charisma, but their external circumstances prevent them from pursuing such academic pursuits? Truth is, it was not long ago in my family history when both my great-grandparents suffered alone against the corruption of dictators and Nazism in Europe. My great-grandfather, Simon, was held at a prisoner camp in Siberia, while my great-grandmother and his future wife walked all around Russia to avoid capture. They could barely find the food and energy to survive, let alone get an education similar to mine. Unfortunately, this is a story not unlike many others in the world right now. And it was only because of their tremendous fight that I am even here today, educated and able to share this story. In fact, everyone is here today because of some form of support, whether from parents or peers, strangers that designed a life-saving medical device, or long-lost ancestors like mine. Let's take a moment to recognize those that supported us and sacrificed for us to have the privilege of pursuing this education. As Matt alluded to, I was fortunate enough to travel to Tanzania this past winter with a team of other science and engineering students to the beautiful village of Mukungu. We were tasked with designing a water distribution system as they were currently without access to clean, safe water. Through the nature of the work we were doing, like hiking several kilometers through head-high grass to test water sources, we quickly saw how different our access to abundant water was. However, it wasn't until I returned home and reflected that I realized a much deeper separation was actually our access to education. Let's propose that our water system design eventually gets implemented in the village of Mukungu, Tanzania. Hopefully, students at the primary school would not then be required to miss out on critical learning time for hours a day spent collecting water. Hopefully, given these improvements, the village could build a secondary school where they could provide a more advanced education. And hopefully, not too far from now, we are the ones being thought of when a graduating student from Tanzania recognizes those before them. Going back to the question I had asked earlier, what it means to be a successful scientist or engineer without a school system present to evaluate us at the submission of every assignment. Earlier this year, I would have said that success would show itself in corporate America through job-related personal accomplishments or possibly a high-paying salary. However, it was experiences like this one, my Tanzania experience, that helped to reframe my idea of success and taking in the impact to those around me. In 20 years, if I were to reflect on my work in a STEM-related field, I believe it would be a poor gauge of my success to ask myself how well I applied complex math and statistics, or even how many promotions I received. Instead, I think it would be more fruitful to characterize an engineer's or scientist's success similar to how Carl Sagan says it. We're not who we say we are. We're not who we want to be, but we are the sum of the influence and impact that we have in our lives on others. Following this thinking, I can now confidently recite a much more fulfilling answer for what I believe defines the success of a scientist or engineer. And that is to empower individuals, both across the globe and across the street, to utilize the privilege of our education so that others can receive similar opportunities that we have all been blessed with, to let factors beyond financial gain motivate our perseverance and creativity. As I begin my professional career, I wish to let acts featuring these intrinsic motivations serve as my guide to finding success. My dream is that some of you listening to me here today will leave with a similar one. I will never forget when an elder of the Mukungu village said to us, "If you are planning for a year, then you must plant some rice. If you're planning for 10 years, then you must plant some trees. But if you're planning for centuries, you must invest your whole self where the kids are around you." And to me, there is no more powerful investment than the chance at an education. As you all go out into the world today, I want to challenge you to make sure that we are all planning for eternity. As I close today, I want to take the time to thank those that have had an immeasurable impact on me. I'd like to thank my dad, Jason, for being the hardest working, most honest man I know. I'd like to thank my sister, Jordan, for showing me what it looks like to radiate gratitude for the world around us. I'd like to thank my mom, Karen, for the unconditional support I felt every single day of my life. I'd like to thank the University of Minnesota for fostering my and all of our growth over these past years. And finally, I'd like to thank everyone in here with me today. I've never been more proud to look at myself in the mirror. I hope that my stories and reflections can serve as an example of the good that can come out of interacting with our neighbors, however far away, an example of the power a strong community holds and the privilege of our education, and finally, an example of how we can see success in the bigger picture as we move on to the next stage of our life. Although on paper we only share a degree in science and engineering, I know we leave today sharing so much more. In mind and in heart, we all have the potential to truly better our worlds. College of Science and Engineering, class of 2024, I wish you all the best. Row the boat, Sky Uma, and go Gophers.
So that was awesome, Josh. Thank you so much. Please accept this award in recognition of your achievements and as a token of our appreciation. On behalf of the College of Science and Engineering, we thank you for your service now, and we look forward to your, as you define it, success in the future. So I am pleased and excited to introduce our keynote speaker for the afternoon, Mr. Jeff Martha. So Jeff is the chairman and CEO of Medtronic, the global leader in healthcare technology and one of the world's most admired and respected companies. In his role, Jeff leads the 75-year-old company and its 95,000 employees around the world in pursuit of its mission, and that is to alleviate pain, to restore health, and to extend life. Last year, Medtronic Technologies impacted the lives of more than 74 million people. That's 2 people every second. Jeff joined the company in 2011, and since becoming CEO in 2020, has been recognized as one of the most influential people in healthcare. He is a member of the Business Roundtable and the World Economic Forum's International Business Council. He serves as a board member on the US-China Business Council, and as treasurer for AvaMed, and is also president of the executive committee of the board of directors for the Minnesota Business Partnership. An ardent supporter of philanthropic and diversity initiatives, Jeff also serves on the board of trustees for the Asia Society and is a member of the board of directors for the Medtronic Foundation, the Northside Achievement Zone, and the YMCA of the North. He's also a founding member of the 110 Coalition and serves as Medtronic's exclusive sponsor for FIRST Robotics, which many of you participated in. As a way of background, Jeff received a bachelor's degree in finance from Penn State University, where he currently serves on the Development Council for its College of Liberal Arts. And, perhaps most relevant to us here in Minnesota, he's a member of the Penn State Hockey Hall of Fame. So everyone, please help me welcoming our commencement speaker, Mr. Jeff Martha.
Well, thank you. It's a real honor to be here today. The last time I was in this building, I was with my college hockey team, the Penn State Nittany Lions, and it did not end well. So I'm hoping that today goes a little better. But I am optimistic because today I'm here in a different capacity. I'm part of the home team, and I'm here with colleagues and friends, and just really excited to be here. And on that note, Dean Aline, Vice Provost McMaster, and to the rest of the CSE faculty and staff, some of whom are familiar faces to me and others at Medtronic, thank you for your commitment to excellence and for helping to shape this next generation of leaders that sit before us here. And Josh, your story is impressive. At 20, you're already planning for eternity. When I was your age, I was really planning for just Friday night. But I couldn't agree more, though, with your message. The message that it's the impact that really matters. And like I said, I'm very impressed and very inspired until I heard about the Boston Scientific thing. Come on, man. You heard Dean Aline, we're the global leader. No, seriously, welcome. I got to get used to this tassel here. Welcome to MedTech. If there's ever a place to have impact, it's in the medical technology space, which I'll talk about. So congratulations, Josh, and welcome to the field. I also want to recognize all the devoted parents, the guardians and families who have supported and sacrificed for these graduates. Congratulations to you as well. It's great to see everybody here. And as the father of 2 recent graduates, I know the pride that you're feeling today. Matter of fact, I was sitting in your seat just a year ago today. And finally, to the class of 2024, I commend you for the choice to receive a degree from a world-class institution like the University of Minnesota. You've reached this milestone through resilience, commitment, and just sheer determination. And you should be damn proud of yourselves for this. I congratulate you, and I ask you to congratulate one another, and some of you need to make up for that high school graduation that you missed. So let's hear some noise for each other. Let's come on. Woo! So, if others have already pointed out, you faced unique challenges unlike any other class. None of us can forget the global upheaval in the spring of 2020 when COVID took over and changed every facet of our lives. It dramatically reshaped we've talked about the end of your high school careers, the beginning of your college experience. I'm sure you all agree that the timing of all this pandemic was not ideal for you. Well, I also faced a bit of an uncharted path as I took over as Medtronic CEO about the same time you entered the University of Minnesota, and it was April of 2020. And as with you, I didn't feel like the timing was very good for me either. But while these last 4 years have been filled with twists and turns, I would argue the journey has been quite extraordinary for all of us. And what I hope you take away from today is a feeling of accomplishment, and an immense sense of optimism for the future. The work that you've put in, the choices that you've made that have led you to these seats here today, and believe it or not, even the timing, everything, all of this comes together to set the stage for you to take part in truly a unique time in our history. So let me explain. All around us, the rate of change itself is accelerating. Technological advancements are transforming every facet of society, including how we address global challenges and how we seize opportunities for progress across all sectors. Let's talk a little bit about how tech is improving healthcare, which is a field we can all relate to. Today, we are seeing radical changes that reshape how people receive their care. From robots that can perform precise, minimally invasive surgeries, to trading in years of daily medications with brutal side effects for hypertension, trading that in for a one-time, minimally invasive procedure in and out in a day that controls your blood pressure going forward. To heart surgery, performed through a catheter, which is basically like a fancy straw, that has you up and walking around within hours. These are exponential changes in medicine. But in spite of all this progress, not everyone gets to take part. As the world changes and technologies advance, so unfortunately do inequities. Josh pointed out a little bit of this in his talk. Now look, I believe healthcare is a human right, yet so many people are left behind, shut out based on geography, social economics, or other factors. Far too many people are missing out on the medical marvels I just spoke of. One reason for this, or one reality we just need to face into, is that we just don't have nearly enough trained healthcare workers or doctors to meet the needs of a growing population, a growing global population. It's just math, and the math just doesn't work. But from where I sit, I see a path forward, a path to solutions that can change everything. One that will be paved by the bright people sitting here before me this afternoon. That path, of course, is technology. I believe it's the best way forward, but in fact, I believe it's really the only way forward. I've already highlighted some exciting technology-enabled products that improve health. Cool stuff. But let me give you some examples of how technology is overcoming the access issues, these inequities, and fundamentally changing the world. That's transformational stuff. Earlier this spring, I was visiting a customer of Medtronic's at a world-class hospital in India. As we toured the site, I was absolutely overwhelmed. The place was overrun with patients and their families. Picture an enormous hall, like pretty much the size of this, except this was packed with these patients and their families desperately seeking care. And as I walked through the entryway where the patients were waiting, in my suit, the patients, the people got up and looked at me. Could I help them get the care? Was I a doctor? Could I help them get the care they so desperately sought after? I mean, you could literally see the desperation in their eyes. The hospital CEO who was walking with me explained how he sees this same scene every single day, day after day. The magnitude of the need far outweighs their capacity. And this is a large, state-of-the-art hospital that has many more resources than most of the other hospitals in the country. Again, it's just numbers. Too many patients, not enough docs. And the same is true in Hyderabad, India, as in many parts of the United States, including right here in Minnesota, right here in Minneapolis. But technology is starting to address this, and we're already seeing the impact. On another floor of that same hospital, there was the longest corridor of cancer screening suites I had ever seen, one after another. I told you this place had scale. And each of these rooms was equipped with artificial intelligence technology to augment traditional colon cancer screenings. And manning the AI tools were these young clinicians with only a few years of training. However, the AI that's at their fingertips served as another set of eyes, another set of trained eyes to find the most minuscule, the most hard to detect polyps, particularly difficult to see when you're a newly minted, exhausted physician on a double shift who has already read dozens of scans that afternoon. So leaning into this new technology, these fresh docs, these new docs were able to deliver the same outcomes for their patients as the world's leading GI doctors. Technology allowed these youngsters to actually leapfrog their counterparts with 30 years of experience. And as a result, one of the world's most treatable forms of cancer is being caught earlier for many more people. The technology is leveling the playing field, eliminating these inequities, at least mitigating them. Now, this approach is being applied to other clinical areas as well. That same afternoon, I spoke with surgeons on our progress developing an AI-powered driver assist technology for the surgical robots. Like the cancer screening technology, the software guides doctors through the procedure, except this time, it's a complicated surgery. And the artificial intelligence helps the docs make decisions, the right decision every step of the way. And on top of that, the surgical plan is customized for that individual patient. This approach and others like it, leveraging technology, the roots of which you learned here at the University of Minnesota, will democratize high-quality surgery, high-quality healthcare for people all around the world, leveling the playing field with the most advanced hospitals. Again, transformational stuff. And these are just two proof points from the healthcare field that fill me with hope for the future. From healthcare to water to housing to climate and everywhere in between, technology offers boundless potential. So graduates, you stand on the brink of a new era. As you embark on your next adventure, I'm a bit envious, honestly. Maybe not for you, Josh. And I'm brimming with optimism for you. It's a remarkable moment to launch a career in STEM. It's just a remarkable time. Your timing now couldn't be better. Now, all that being said, as excited as I am about the technology alone can't change the world. Despite the rise of things like robotics and AI, it's still human creativity and leadership that propels progress. Innovation is a people-powered business, and we need people in this room to be at your very best. So with that in mind, I'll leave you with a bit of personal advice that I wish I had when I was starting out my career. First, speak up and make your perspectives heard. Right out of the gate, don't wait. Those already in the workforce for a few years, well, they just don't know what you know. Technology is changing fast. In fact, somebody pointed out to me when I was on a trip overseas recently that today siblings born 5 years apart are different technology generations. Technology is moving that fast. So the message is to stay up on digital innovations and don't be afraid to share what's in your head, because your generation is poised to contribute in new and unique ways. Next, I would suggest you actively listen to people, especially when they're trying to offer opinions that differ from yours. Find ways, even if for a few minutes, to put your views on hold and see things from another point of view. I know this can be uncomfortable, believe me, but there is such a big difference between truly listening to somebody and just waiting to talk. Seeking out diversity of thought will grow your capacity as an innovator and make you a better leader. Finally, my last point is something that I heard when I was your age, but I didn't really internalize. This is an example of actually the young version of me not really listening. And that point is follow your passion. It wasn't until much later in my career that I took this advice, which then led me into healthcare, and that's when things really took off for me. So hopefully even on our short time together today, you feel the passion that I have for what I do. It is my superpower, and I want this passion superpower for you. It is really special when you find it. And if you haven't found it yet, just keep looking, don't settle. So, my friends in the class of 2024, the world is waiting for your brilliance, and I, for one, can't wait to see you shine. So congratulations, and go make it happen. Thank you.
And I can attest to the passion. I've witnessed it firsthand. So thank you, Jeff, for your excellent keynote address. We are so pleased and thrilled to have such a prominent business leader like you here today to share your wisdom. So please accept this as a small token of our appreciation from the University of Minnesota. Thank you. Awesome. And I can guarantee you this is an example of where your science and technology can literally save lives and have an impact, the kind of stuff he was talking about earlier. So now, this is what we've all been waiting for, the presentation of the graduates. So students are going to be ushered to the stage by a degree program, and their names are going to be called, and they'll receive a diploma cover. Out of an abundance of caution, those who do not wish to shake hands do not have to. Just do a little bow. Those who do wish to shake hands, you can go ahead. I'll leave it to you. So,
Bachelor of Aerospace Engineering and Mechanics. Will their department representative please step forward? Joseph Janish. Vincent Twin. Nathan Busher. Brandon Alvarez Ocampo. AJ Keyshawn Diekman. Quinn Bates Janigo. Nico Sexton. Zachary Goodmanson. Andrew Spence. Luke Raymond. Gaiden Hodge Secor. Alfonso Lanause Bias. Mitchell Heim. Josephine Nielsen. Jack Blagan. Nicole Stevens. Defna Minjela Oglu. Samuel Robert Hudak. Gavin House. Nathaniel Edward Lucas. Colton Davies. Sam King. Dylan Kraus. Jamie Carpenter. Sydney Collins. Benjamin Bachter. Jacques Miller. Isabel Van Hatten. Riley McGivern. Thomas Heimer. Jacob Sonic. Austin Bodine. Nicholas Nijelik. Samuel Prockett. Tyler Matson. Ethan Colby. Brad Nelson. Dylan Breeshoff. Jacob Wood. Alexander Halatsis. William North. Ioannis Pothos. Alex Toner. Keegan Glover. Carson Wright. Graham Barrage. Vladimir Kornev. Bodie Zertman. Nicholas Moore. Ethan Edward Bradley. Ashton Posey. Ethan Thompson Jewell. Ethan Tucker. Daniel Halverson. Kendrick Morton. Sean Monahan. Michael Heinz. Sam Linz. Jack Van Nerden. Tyler Wood. Brenna Templin.
Aiden Gentry.
Jacob Gowerluck. Shay Larson. Bachelor of Science in Astrophysics. Will their department representative please step forward? Julia Maria Belugian. Isabel Perrin. Giovanna Tacano Nadi. Laura Balboa. Wyatt Baito. Holly Durham. Zichang Zhang. Owen Kais. Bachelor of Biomedical Engineering. Will their department representative please step forward? Allison Lundborg. Samantha Schmidt. Marguerite Murray. Nicholas Stan. Simali Zode. Ola Sabumi Omieni. Emily Chu. Emma Bowman. Christina Allen. Raina Hine. Madeline Kramer. Kira Van Batavia. Madeline Olchen. Aileen Custamania Soto. Elizabeth Milker. Alexei Seplak. Jack Richards. Isaac Wallstrom. Maya Johnson. Isabel Melton. Emma Natali. Sophia Geddes. Stephanie Bai. Niyathi Alluri. Smrithi Karthikeyan. Helen Gang. Marie Honchi. Nathan Saffold. Aniruddha Paranjape. Verdon Sinha. Sai Praneeth Bajuri. Amar Demay. Ahad Kaleem. Cole Helland. Samuel Jacob. Enrico Podesta Navarro. Charlotte Crippen Cleary. Caitlin Sherman. Hannah Kayan. Elizabeth Faulkner. Ethan Funk. Thomas Younger. Theodore Kakachik. Nicole Mertens. Dallas Carey. Alexis Thies. Catherine Lee Heidebrink Jans. Riley Duryea. Nikhil Kapoor. Rana Abdel Shahid. Lauren Kelly. Kylie Irwin. Samita Haraholi. Anna Bush. Lucas Tandy. Udai Fukai. Adam Bockerman. Max Fulton. Zachary Blondes. Sydney Beck. Madison Claire Safranik. Alexandra Skibitsky. Connor O'Rourke. Terrence Sullivan. Cadence Kosanda. Finn Salveson. John Featherstone. Jack Major. Dane Hootery. Trenton Glazer. Daniel Russell. Carson Shear. William Christensen. Samuel Belding. Jager Hansen. Raymond Zhang. Aiden Davis. Hunter Stoll. Bachelor of Science in Earth Sciences. Will their department representative please step forward? Emma Kostecki. Jameson Ward. Ruby Susan Jane Sandell. Allison Grace DeCue. Kelsey Waters. Nicholas Weist. Abigail Wilwerding. Clara Seltzer. Nicole Kruger. Bachelor of Bioproducts and Biosystems Engineering. Will their department representative please step forward? Maxwell Pearson. Owen Michio. Josephine Kahn. Morgan Raymond. Riley Banazak. Austin Johnson. Matteo Luigino Bellazzini. Madison Stoltzman. Sophia Pradine. Megan Tardoni. Anna Molnar. Alexander Hildy. Hope Ashley Ricablanca Oliva. Lauren Meekum. Stephanie Henderson. Emma Dinger. Lydia Minderman. Ranel Hong. Andrew Ayeem. Bachelor of Chemical Engineering. Will their department representative please step forward? Pu Guang Hong. Caleb John Lavalley. Romy Ivy Luong. Meryl Wong. Fong Tong. Alex Nutt. Allison Fiallos Gonzalez. Christopher Torres.
Dot Tran.
Ferris Kasem. Mohanad Tariq Hussain. Alazar Al Azri. Sonnet Iyer. Natalie Wilson. Caitlin Komar. Madeline Murphy. Alessandra Saponera. Josephine Kelly Kelpsis. Hunter Neeson. Jack Terry. Jordan Liu. Nathan LaSalle. Michael Marino. Yang Zhang. Boxung Huang. William Mattis. Will Crisco. Joshua Shippey. Sarah Tank. Sean Patrick Scholart. Alexandra Janey. Sun Lee Batten. Ethan Stambaugh. Ethan Redlin. Natalie Louise Mack. Hannah Jean Nelson. Morgan Kiefer. Claire Ellen Dix. Mitchell Hyman. Cal Bossard. Garrett Anderson. Sean Sullivan. Christian Schuyler Lawrence. John Cleary. Mason Webb. Josh Gervil. Eleni Chuda. Andrew Johnson. Samuel Erickson. Joseph Hennessy.
Richard Krieger.
Caden Tyler John Peters. Salah Osman. Ryan Joe. Alexander Temple. Federico Campagna. Blaine Burns. Noble Kuriakos Paul. Neil Sani. Tony Balugu. Ashley Wong. Alexandra Farrell. Jason Sexauer.
Samuel Fremer.
Joseph Hudson. Annika Bowen. Jung-Soo Park. Ji-Yoon Lee. Jin Kim. Madawi Almafu. James Lin. James Anthony Vu. Su Rati Nang. Tien Do. Aaron Gwaltney. Louisa Santos Nothaft. Courtney Schroeder. Emma Klotzbach. Sarah Whelan. Ellie Larson. Dominic Jones. Hunter Samard. Harrison Taylor. Lucas Fisher. Eli Freeman. Evan McWilliams. Jack Nightingale. Salem Khalid Al-Qatani. Ritaj Abdulaziz Abuzed. Bachelor of Science in Chemistry. Will their department representative please step forward? Hadlina Amanda All. Duquin Larry Zoe. Bethany Whitholm. Maya Olson. Dylan Ashley. Dong Woo Han. Julia Scully. Julia Kurth. Kennedy Nelson. Michael Swanson. Chitra Shong. Gemma Pham. Quan Ten Liu. Lily Johnston. Ariana Marie Hansen Wheeler. Alexander Jensen Yont. Marlon Francis Witt. Akash Hazabnis. Peter Carlson. Stella Marie Frangioticus. Megan Cesalia. Shannon McCullough. Tyler Rosenberg. Jessica Higdon. Arnesh Kundu. Ismail Assad Irfanullah. Joshua Caldwell. Sarah DeLone. Clarice Wehono. Aaron Douglas Siegfried. Kieran Thompson. Xavier Murray. Cale Hendricks. Seth Miller. Ethan Ashbrook. Rima Jamoose. Katie Horak. Lydia Anderson. Camilla Tran. Mrinalni Iyer. Holly Den Hartog. Kira Hess. Ivo Guillen. Anthony Almeida. Dylan Marsky. Lewis Anderson. Bradley Allen. Ian McPhee. Peter Francis Dainert. Amr Sheikh. Jacob Jelinski. Nicholas Grothy. Logan Faltzgraff. David Peterson. Sophie Seligman. Lauren Malik. Taylor Erickson. Leah J. Morris. Stacy Fremming. Michael Holcomb. Matthew Ray. Kenny B. Hong. Christopher T. Hong Ning. Sam Brandt. Nashat Lubada. Bachelor of Computer Engineering. Will their department representative please step forward? Nashat Lubada. Nathan Holzum. Mason Terrius. Dylan Brucehaver. Brady Doyle. Tyler Yantis. Benjamin Edward Diley. Nathan Gerald Redfern. Jacob Johnson. Ryan Belmont. John Stolzberg Schrey. Hershen Nair. David Malenke. Austin Friesenhahn. Andrew Gorton. Kevin Lau. Adnan Kutab. Logan Miller. Jared Schultz. Con Winter. Alejandro Zacy. Christian Steiner. Jacob Lawpan. Ian Smith. Michael Morgowski. Ella Ann Finnegan. Cade Rogenbauer. Connor Preston. Jonathan Olaleye. Brennan Noiser. Maximilian Percy. Cameron Wolf. Christopher Nagy. Susanna Fish. Hunter Jans. Madison Rowe. Andrew Danciak. Christian Pollock. Vashal Manny Karen. Samuel Younglove. Lauren Coolyard. Wybov Shirole. On Lamb. Aditya Prabhu. Marwin Meni. Singho Shin. Rafael Avalar Batista de Jesus. Kevin San. Benjamin Bauman. Bachelor of Science in Computer Science. Will their department representative please step forward? Nathan Steerley. Caleb Joel Otto. Christopher Hardwick. Sean O'Neill. Ryan Hill. Jacob Malin. Grayson Anthony Breedy. Jacob Secunda. Benjamin Larson. Wesley Jacobs. Nazar Kopolchak. Alex Ashworth. Shihang Zhang. Akshay Petty. Vebhav Jen. Faith Lay. Ishan Sodi. Nick Gable. Clara Selchow. Nicholas Hiltner. Benjamin Chu. Mutasim Fuad Jeet. Zhu Zhuang. Xiaotian Zhao. Joshua Harrington. Jacob McIsaac. Evan Vaith. Charles Mattoon. Jeffrey Miller. Dylan Nelson. Thomas Clark Knickerbocker. Owen Ratkin. Jacob Dolling. Nicholas Starinets. Mateen Hori. Brady Adam Bannock. David Mahana. Sebastian Herman. Makan Mehmedov. Abdi Kadar Dahir. Coulter Clement. Nicole Shanky. Robele Teshome. Cole Bai. Elijah Gordon. Monin Mrig. Rhett Olson. Tony Skeps. Benjamin Okonski. Ni Min Set. Clay Carlson. Alex Johnson. Jala Dong. Shrish Biru. Devansh Mishra. Nathnael Gita. Skylar Volden. Chris Moe. Thea Hiltner. Arpita Dave. Praful Das. Phoebe Kritsis. Austin Applegate. Tony Kai. Robert Tan. Manav Kokas.
Aditya Pitamari.
Sushil Katel. Raj Panda. Saketh Atluri. Ashwin Warrior. Ryan Koo. Wu Ihan. Minerva Zoe. Jasmine Joyce de Guzman. Thomas Stegman. Ian Rodriguez. Edward James Vanderwall.
Alec Drieslein.
Jun Yul Ryu. Jason Kwan.
Aaron Cruzy.
Arzab Batrai. Anthony Yeep. Amina Razak. Tyler Fahm. Noah Tarzan. Tristan Keene. Alan Nahn. Yusuf Mahaini. Galan Omar. Harun Mohammad Shazad. Nafi Khan. Taha Rao. Srinand Reddy Kasareddy. Aditya Ketan Inampudi. Madan Mohan. Dhruv Voddard. Margaret Deegan. Grace Rule. Caleb Wiebolt. Evan Bagwell. Max Gisaki. Ishan Gupta. Ishan Shetty. Marwa Osman. Jacob Horesh. Alexei Budkov. Kathleen Wolf. Meredith Louise Farmer. Nicole Vu. Camden Fessler, Chase Philippi, Ryan Yang, Thomas Litwiller, Brenna Rabe, Sydney Wynn, Jillian Slater, Jun Yuan Wong, Japong Chow, Mao Xuing Cho, Manmohan Magendaran,
Dylan Blundell.
Austin Franzen, Christopher Kai Lee, Drew Brock, Dawson Rentz, Joseph Hansen, Suyash Kalra, Andrew Ho, Justin Coyle, Thomas Starks, Maya Yoder, Jonathan Mashesha, Thomas Cunningham, Ben Bael, Neha Bhatia, Stuti Aurora, Abdul Wase Khan, Darren Dina Plork, Keegan Grace Eng, Jenny Lim, Sophia Rose Anwar, Maria Paz Zavala, Khalid Baraksai, Ella Kroll, Kirsten Erickson, Tyler Larson, Alex Jung, Camden Jones, Jack Mullen, Dennis Rich, Grace Condi, Andrew Duran, Alexander Johnson, Nicholas Soto, Jing Xian Chai, Jacob Scott Cheek, Shreya Chile Kampali, Anjali Ratnam, Megan Price, Peter Moriarty, Jenna Milam Chong, Tenzin Sutton, Isabel Maria Nguyen, Jordan James Schwingler, Angie Chen, Rothio Kota Antunes, Mohammed Abu Shanab, Ayana Stauffer, Shivali Mukherjee, Alexa Nelson, Ruth Mesfin, Ann Kolstad, Griffin Santer,
Tyler Peterson.
Jasper Belfi,
That's Jasper, I think.
Alice Chen Zhang,
Maybe it didn't get scanned.
Jason Berry, Jackson Ristow, Chork Hiang, Ling Long Meng, Kwa Ton Tat, Mackenzie Leo, Calvin Tice, Maurice Yu, Audion Mabub, Adam Buzak, Simone Angelo Toribio, Brian Bianchi, Emilio Lobo Alvarez Harris, Ethan Davis, Jason Van Busicum, Noah W. Sachs, Aparna Lomore, Evan Vogue, William Duran, Sebastian Moreno Ahumada, Wendell Yuri Relacion, Jairus Allen Pagaduan, DeChing Chun, Kelton O'Brien, Sean Liu, Jorgen Holbrook, Connor Anthony, Kareem Camel, Priyam Bala, Atreyi Badithala, Cole Normandin Parker, Abdel Rahman Mokbel, Ryan Johnson, Andrew Hoyle, Charlie Martins, Cole Lindforce, Dennis Yurovich, Andrew Dominic Bremner, Carlos Alberto Chassi Mejia, Michael McMorrow, Christian Golish, Nathan Anie, Kenneth Lickett, Caitlin Bees, Claire Stelmack, Minjung Cho, Dane Johnson, Ahmed Sayed Shahan, Hadi Kotafani, Taufik Akindele, Evelina Galimova, Shreya Patel, Nick Kale, Tui Ian Tran, Stephen Petzold,
William O.
Brian Tran, Sajid Khan, Mac Rana, Oscar Weistling, Lucas Olson, Jimmy Xiao, Shin Liu, Jia Tan Huang, Min Roy Tian, Ashley Chen, Jack Pearson, Ashton Berg, Zachary Benson, Logan Waters, Michael Valois, Humaid Al-Shamsi, Nasser Al-Kindi, Matthew Long, Maria Paula Cadena Amortigui, Alan Casas, Samer Hassan, Alan Hagedorn, Ancient Bodbutter, Cody Engstrom, Aiden Khalid, Ubayd Sharif, Abdullahi Noor, Catherine Tran, Jackson Carey, Alex Hatum, Anna Arntzen, Mong Mua, Zakaria Hussein, Moyeta Ebiso, Abdisa Haji, Bilal Osman, Mohammed Amin Mahdi, Alan Liao, David Burchell, Matthew Anthony Ferraru, Evelyn Junaid, Cody Cayetano, Joshua Yang, Tenzin Wozer, Habiba Heshmat, Caitlin Tasto, Nathan Rechtenwald, Omar Salem, Dhruv Bala, Gable Sundman, Henry Mathis, Brett Hare, Jerome Schreiber, Ethan Ta, Oliver Pham, Nels Marvin Parento. Isaac Mohammed Noor. Caleb Tracy. Noah Hendrickson. Jonathan Blixt. Joshua Huang. Gideon Tan. Quan Nguyen. Bang Lee. Ming Nguyen. Stephen Nixon. Mun Uyun Nguyen. Peter Campbell. Nikita Golamudi. Akansha Kamanini. Faith Sims. Sumana Sithamraju. Shrira Maruri. Lucas Spooner. Ryan Bergstein. Dursa Tabawanga Albert. Ryan Oak. Hyunwoo Young. Jameson Grudem. James Calagunta. Bachelor of Science in Data Science. Will their department representative please step forward? Maxwell Smart. Jack Rogers. Sanjana Reddy. Rohan Vij. Jingro Mai. Shin Imo. Dondup Dolma. Queen Min Huin. Brianne Punzak. Anushka Pandey. Gabriel Larson. Arthur Niem. Lane Alfstad. Marie Y. Milanowski. Catherine Magnuson. Maria Volkova. Adam Haig. Charlie Raphael. Trek Stenger. Tony Zhang. Dylan Paulson. Jinan Algara. Bachelor of Electrical Engineering. Will their department representative please step forward? Samuel Poley. Christopher Mihalski. Coven Muhil Gramesh. Ethan Polson. Nicholas Hetchler. Corey Beeson. Brian Lee Reichert. Benjamin Myers. Beka Demi.
Baruch Katiso.
Victoria Siegfried. Mitra Kian. Olivia Bowser. Joseph Schreiner. Jordan Chaco. Andrew Lambrecht. Peter Tran. Cyprien Maranga. Ahmed Yassin. Ryan Kelsey. Yuan Jiang. Zachary Xiong. Curtis Hauntz. Mohammed Ibrahim. Aitor de Encona. Jack Smith. Justin Peterson. Megan Adamek. Kaisa Hawk. Jenny Beaton. Nicholas Navarrete. Aaron Christian Knoll. Sebastian Cordero Vicente. Rachel Ward. Julia Barroth. Faisal Kater. Joel Piontek. Joseph Rank. Abraham Yeager Mountain. Hunter Berger. Samuel Rose. Daniel Drews. Jasmine Medina Banuelos. And Jude Al-Alawi. Andrew Fornes. Amethyst O'Connell. Charles Kennedy. Bachelor of Environmental Engineering. Will their department representative please step forward? Brian Ballquist. Ethan Myers. Riley Fitzpatrick. Joshua Hines. Anna Rettler. Sydney Olson. Marta Struve. Nico Deshpande. Victoria Smarava. Sarah Zins. Bachelor of Science in Environmental Geosciences. Will their department representative please step forward? Gracelyn McClure. Alessandra Garziano Parker. Anna Gonzalez. Faith Nicel. Jasper Goldstein. Grayson Struve. Brady Thomas Bettine. Bachelor of Geoengineering. Will their department representative please step forward? Timothy Johnson. Bo Chen Y. Lexi Schaefer. Bachelor of Industrial and Systems Engineering. Will their department representative please step forward? William Kaiser. Benjamin Jacobs. David Wagner. Sierra Lucky. Madeline Rumi. Ben Hogan. Nicholas Reynolds. Corson Rylicki. Cade McTighe. Jun Hyun Lee. Jacob Voorhees. George Tepfer. Connor Purdue, Jacob Groman, Joshua Eichen, Madeline Gibbs, Kyle James Humphreys, Rushali Desai, Aaron Farrell, Tina Son, Bennett Heitzman, Leo Gantert, Dan Magnuson, Piero Bustamante Olano, Jonah Friedman, Jason Schumacher, Connor Trulson, Elizabeth Mack, Eden Falecki, Kendra Olkers, Olivia Yana, Eliza Bohart, Alexis Trebold, Julia Stevenson, Louisa Izar Helfenstein Fonseca, Kara Olander, Luke Harris, Joseph Fahm, Charles Matthew Croft, Ash Picone, Olivia D'Souza, Morgan Reese, Connor Salisbury, Thomas Lenz, Sylvie Frogness, Grace Jessen, Samiksha Kanukunta, Adrika Dasgupta, Valerie Tung Kung, Kelsey Singh, Abigail Donaldson, Aaron Nelson, Bachelor of Materials Science and Engineering. Will their department representative please step forward? Rakesh Plants, Oliver Maines, Anthony Mark Jovanella, Justin Warner, Noah Lear, Gina Henkel, Paxton Pickin, Ella Russell, Joseph Carson, Thomas Golin, Alex Kazitsa, Braden Dilworth, Ashley Hamilton, Regina Gonzalez Lona, Elite Thor, Gung Ho, Luca Figari, Olivia K. Dykes, Bachelor of Science in Mathematics. Will their department representative please step forward? Charlie Mejia, Julie Zeidler, Kaylee Horn, Margaret Musoff, Calvin Wohan, Edward Hajdukovic, Frank Rylan Tiberia, Patrick Gallagher, Owen Hegseth, Ian Schmitz, Urbis Eka, Harry Joshua Kisada Larimore. Glenn Deepak Erickson. Eric Jorgensen. Nathan Essner. Jason Estaño Florentino. Matthew Lair. Isaac Moore. Annabelle Wiley. Jack Shedder. Conan Blair. Keith Daka. Sarah Brennan. Emma Lonan. Kate Schenke. Joseph Zaidi. Suri Zing. Charlie McNeil. Adam Sibley. Maxwell Dempsey. Colton Bauer. Spencer Marchetti. Gabrielle Fossum. Rachel Anderson. Claire Auberg. Andy Yu. Kenshin Aoyama. Connor Shane Lee. Logan Leitzinger. Noah Kamel Fakhreddin. Martin Fofana. Jonathan Stoltz. Maddie Lind. Alec Lunneborg. Pearson Harper. Andrew Tauby. Michelle Angeline Fo. Yimeng Wong. Yixin Zhou. Bachelor of Mechanical Engineering. Will their department representative please step forward? Shivangi Pandey. Mahir Madaparia. Lena Imbabi. Connor Eric Anderson. Eric Hool. Rian Hodge Sakur. Christian Agaba. Andrew Davis. Ryan Hoen. Niles Prestine. Luke Thomas Ide. Brandon Stephan Palacio. Sulav Gurung. Gavin Svensson. Justin McKenzie. Christopher Stephen Just. John Kraus. Patrick Sakaguchi. Evan Ellis. Charles McPherson. Joshua Wynn. Viswesh Seishan.
Eric Mears.
Devin Kugel. Jan C. Tron. Jonah Furman. Jenna Renee Westlake. Matthew McCormick. Tyler McLaughlin. Stephen Lewis Bowman. Ian Malinowski.
Zachary Jaros.
Christian Strawman. Caleb Prunty. Justin Hecht. Jonathan William Hillen. Grant Ortel. Jace James Thompson. Ryan Traviola. Andrew Eklund. Patrick Coppin. Dahlia Garas. Anna Marie Anderson. Patrick Youngbauer. Sothiera Sen. Trisha Trin. Apostolos Kotsolis. Branton Wagner. Shannon Walskug. Ryan Schultz. Jacob Kobelarsik. Alexander Church. Nicholas Ramnarine. Corey Nagel. Fletcher John Hubbard. Zachary Mark Beerworth. Jacob Perot. Abdallah Shabibi. Huxley Nibwari. Marcus Dalius. Rashad Ahmad. Sayon Wallow. Tamaya Mojwetan. Nathan Sladek. Lucas Lay. Gabe Nelson. Isha Daven Hazare. Kevin Lindenstruth. Mason Anderson. Con Hui Vo. Jacob Van Vagel. Reed Plackner. Sam Peterson. Al Hussein Ali Salim Abad. Aman Siddiqui. Omar Al Kasabi. Majid Al Busaidi. Halima Jabir Ibrahim Monet. Rebecca Loberg. Reed Benson. Adam Jeffrey Stazik. Thomas Glad. Amit Manika. Danny Putra. Evan Lind. Aiden Golish. Nicholas Narcisse Isamba.
Braden Wald.
Spencer Bertram. Angela Sue. Kevin Jong. Ham Farmer. Gordon Everett Straker. Anna Marlene Frischman. Matt Lawrence. Garrett Kaiser. Bryce Nault. Simon Horning. Ryan John Ballett. John McCuskey. Benjamin Cashin. Matilda Pratas Fernandez. Hannah Ramshack. Bella Larson. Ian Romine. Luke Pollard. Andrew O'Brien, Andy Tai, Ann Wynn, Whitney Chung, Benjamin Kiro, Michael Duthie, William Aldrin, Levi Prunty, Joseph Robinson, Mohammed Irfan Hamdi Mohamed Rizam, Alieska Dellinger, Hung Din, Alexander Engebretson, Grace Odell, Benjamin Hansen, Owen Halls, Ezra Albright,
John Naughton,
Caleb MacArthur, Jacob Figs, Cade Firstel, Liam Carr, Nicholas Simsick, John Cahan, Connor Matthew Glauser, Parker Theobald, Paul Schmitter, Bachelor of Science in Physics. Will their department representative please step forward? Keen Schlomer, So Kawano, Nicholas Byron Horton, Anna Yanni, Cyrus Bayerlin, Riley Passe, Jefferson Carpenter, Brian Cronky Orquera, Yao Tien Lee, Christopher Ulate, Ragini Sitar, Charlie Acombe, Jim Hogan, Kim Wen, Cale Overgard, Benjamin Weiner, Nicole D'Angelo, Corey Gugamos, Holton Griffin, Peter Frishy, Vitaly Milanin, Marissa Kramer, Jianping Kwong, Luke Kathman, Ian Sarma, Robert Lowy, Christopher Bell, Theo Mahaffey, Ricky Kanik, Gabriel Willis, Christina Marie Andrade, Blake Wendland, William Cho,
right, we're almost there. Hi, my name's David Blank. I am the Associate Dean for Undergraduate Programs in the College of Science and Engineering. And as a professor in the college, I can't tell you how very, very proud I am of all of you. I wish you well in your future careers, and I hope you will come back to mentor our students in the future, as well as come back for the alumni events. And with that short introduction, will the graduates please rise? Upon the recommendation of the faculty and by the authority of the Board of Regents, I now confer upon you the degrees for which you have qualified. Please move your tassels to the other side. Hang on to your hats. Yep. For the band. So we'll conclude today's event with the singing of the Minnesota Rouser. After the singing of the Rouser, graduates, please find your families and continue your celebrations with your family and friends on the plaza on this beautiful day. So I think we've got the band members who will join us. Short pause. And well, right on that, on the hat issue, I would say the end of the Rouser, when maybe there's some confetti cannons, would be a great time to toss your hat if you're thinking about doing that as well. You guys ready down there? Let me know and I'll get everybody to stand. Let me know when you're ready, I'll get everybody to stand. You ready? All right, please stand for the singing of the Minnesota Rouser.